Now this is an Uptown EDC knife, boys. It's lightweight, thin and compact, extremely well made. Comes out fast, just like one of them show-off auto knives. Has some of that newfangled blade steel in it, which by the way is razor sharp. Locks up very tightly within that there handle. And man, is it fancy looking. Of course it's fancy, Nutnfancy. It's a Benchmade. Well, to that I would say, not so fast, Festus. Not everything Benchmade makes is the bestest. Yeah, I think I'll just go with that. Alright, guess I'd slowly come out of character so you know it's me, Nutnfancy, behind the camera. Yep, giving you a little insight to my southern upbringing. You guys knew I was a southern boy, right? Born and bred. How you doing, Alabama? Ain't talking about Alabama though, talking about Benchmade. And nope, not everything they make is awesome. Mostly, but not everything. Maybe it's a variance in design, blade steel, serrations, handle material, all the things which make us like or dislike a blade. Yeah, there's wins and losses with every manufacturer as far as I'm concerned. And with Benchmade, honestly, you guys have seen that in front of the TMP camera, right? During the SHOT Show booth reviews for the past 2 years with the good folks at Benchmade. And I love visiting with that booth. They always got a lot of cool things to show. And yes, there are a couple of things maybe I just don't dig that much. And you may have detected that when the crickets show up. I don't say much when a knife is rolled in front of me that I don't like. You know, instead of being negative, I just don't say anything. But that wasn't the case with this little gem. Oh yeah. When I saw this for the first time, the Benchmade 470 Emissary, designed by Warren Osborne, oh man, love at first sight. In fact, at SHOT Show Booth Review 2011, I designated this as one of Benchmade's wins for 2011. One of my favorite blades. It's taken me a while to get one to review. Here it comes, Nutnfancy style. Probably will get some details wrong, skip a few details. Oh, so sorry. Always a lot more to discuss than I ever think there is with a knife review. At least one I really, really like. And it's very easy for me to like the 470. Actually, not like, but love it. Why? Let's jump into philosophy of use. First and foremost, in first kind of cool, that is, you know, how it does its job, it's going to jam in the EDC roll. First, because it's so light. 2.2 ounces? Rock on. Very excited to see that. Well done, Benchmade. The lightweight EDC blades have always excited me. In fact, they are foundational to my knife reviews, right? The very first EDC blade, actually knife period, I ever reviewed here in the Nutnfancy project was a SOG Flash 1. 1.2 ounces. And all of the, not all, but most of the elements which make me still love this knife are present in the Emissary. Assisted opening that's very fast, good lockup, good lock mechanism, deep pocket carry clip, thin, relatively affordable. Maybe that's not in the Emissary. We'll talk about that when we get down to value. That is a downside, somewhat, gotta be honest. But love this knife too. In the role of EDC, I think the 470 is just going to do great. Namely because you're going to have it on your person. And look at the thickness. It's not the thinnest EDC blade out there. It's pretty close. 0.45 inches, under a ½ inch thick. Dudes, 3-inch blade. Good handle to blade ratio. That's pretty awesome, don't you think? Again, not the thinnest. Maybe a reference point would be the also awesome SOG Twitch 2. Love that knife. Look how thin that is. But it's close. Both of these knives are Hall of Famers. Well, actually, we have to wait and see on the Emissary. This one's definitely a Hall of Famer in the Nutnfancy project. For all the things it gets right, if you're interested, reference or review. Yeah, utility knife, everyday carry knife. A rock star is what I think the Emissary is going to be. Secondly, a collectible. If you're a Benchmade fan, you like the elegance, the high quality, the fit and finish, the materials that go into an awesome Benchmade knife just like this one, you're probably going to want to add a 470 Emissary to your collection. And by the way, I'm jealous if you got a big Benchmade collection because there are so many great Benchmade knives. I'm going to show you maybe one or two more before the review ends. By way of comparison, size and weight, home runs, 2 POUs, EDC, collectible. Well, that's about it. Hey, that cowboy's coming back. By the way, I twittered my TMP followers. I was like, hey, should I do a cowboy intro on this review? They're like, totally do it. So I did. It beats, you know, I don't know, a standard intro, which would go something like, all right, this is Nutnfancy. I'm going to be talking about Benchmade Emissary. Wah, wah. Who wants to listen to that? That sucks. Steel. Let's talk about blade shape first. An aggressive drop point blade. Not a ton of belly, but enough for the EDC roll. You guys know I'm not too fond of the Wharncliffe blades for everyday carry. That's just me, how I like it. Because all your wear is going to be right here, like I've said like a bazillion times, in your EDC knife. With a Wharncliffe blade, a flat blade, check out that tip in about a year of hard use. It's probably gone. This has enough belly. I wish it had perhaps a little bit more, but I think it's kind of following the lines of its predecessor, the Benchmade 771. Okay? Kind of spear point looking, but it's really a drop point. Very aggressive. You can see the unsharpened swedge right here. The Benchmade logo on that side. They always do such a beautiful job, and the finish on the blade is just gorgeous, as you can see. All USA made too, by the way. And that brings us to the steel type. S30V. And this also will account for some of the price in the 470 Emissary. Anytime you're going to lock into the CPM, that is Crucible Materials Corporation S30V steel, you're going to pay for it. That's because it's a high-end steel, guys. Very rust resistant, by the way. 14% chromium? Are you kidding me? That is a lot. Probably made possible by, I don't know, the Martensitic powder-made steel technology, which I've discussed a lot in other reviews. They can actually put the knife steel exactly together the way they want it. I didn't word that exactly right, but you know what I'm saying. What results is about a 4% vanadium content, and it's the vanadium carbides, is my understanding, that will do the cutting in your Emissary knife, and they're tougher and longer lasting than the usual carbon carbides. Okay, and it's very fine grain structured. That means it will take and hold a very sharp edge. Okay, S30V steel is one of my faves. That's proven to me over some time. I don't know if it's like my favorite steel, especially when I take into account how much it costs. It's a lot. And like I said in the intro, this sucker arrives sharp out of box. Another win for SHOT Show 2011 at the Benchmade booth was the 915 Triage. Did a review on that knife. The blade out of box was underwhelming. I'm talking about the sharpness level. Benchmade has fixed that problem as far as I can tell, because this one obtained after that review. And by the way, Benchmade contacted me immediately after the Triage review, said thank you so much. We are glad you identified that, the sharpening problem. We're on it. And then I got 2 update phone calls after that. And then I got this knife after that. Okay, and let's see how this blade is. I'm talking sharpness. Huh. Oh, daddy like. I will say it's as sharp as any Benchmade I've ever seen. Wicked sharp. This is kind of fun. I think the rest of the review, I'm just going to cut paper. You guys get the picture. Very sharp. Now, is that relief edge exactly what I would profile on No, I'd probably do something a little bit more gradual. But as you can see, that sucker cuts. Hair shaving sharp is what you should say. S30V steel, good blade shape. No jimping, rip off. Kind of. What do we got topside? Nothing. Oh man, whatevs. Can't get everything, and it is an EDC blade, not a tactical blade. Speed. Well, let me roll in a comparison here. I kind of said in the cowboy intro, compares against an auto knife. How about the Model 1 fingerling by Piranha? Oh, I think I totally reviewed this thing in like 2008. It's about a $100 knife. Little bit thinner, maybe about the same thickness. I don't know, I didn't measure it. It's a beautiful knife. I think 154 cm steel, and it comes out fast, right? But it's an auto knife, and with an auto comes all types of legalities, right? You don't know if they're legal in your world, in your neck of the woods. They probably aren't. Who needs an auto, to be honest, though? As much as I love the fingerling, it's a great knife. It's an affordable auto knife for the quality levels you get. Reference or review a long time ago. You know, the Emissary gives you all the functionality of a good auto. Okay, like I said, that sucker comes out fast. Wicked fast. Now granted, you don't have an actuation button. You're using the ambidextrous thumb studs, which are easily accessed, by the way, by the heavily contoured and milled aluminum handles. They look like titanium, by the way. Fast knife, right? Love it. Who needs an auto? Love assisted opening. And again, I'll say what I always say. Why do guys disable the assist mechanism on some of the blades? Don't know. Love it. And to keep it real, a little aside, it adds time, but man, it's fun. Here's a 940 Osborne. Man, I must like those Osborne knives. I do. This is a Hall of Famer, one of my all-time faves as well. This is not an assisted opening axis lock, like I've said in other reviews, right? But it's so well balanced and smooth, you don't need an assist mechanism. But when it's as well executed as it is in the Emissary, love it. Speed is excellent. Lockup and strength. Well, I have heard complaints that on the 470 Emissary, did I say that right? Emissary, that there's some wiggle side to side. This one, to be honest, as it came out of box, had the same thing. So I got my Benchmade blue toolkit, did me some tweaking on that there pivot point. Only a little bit. I mean, I just barely tweaked it. And again, you don't want to do it so much that you slow down the deployment of the blade. And as it stands right now, perfection. Okay, I got no movement side to side and it's tight. Will it stay that way over time? Don't know. Who knows? But right now it's good. You might have just a little bit in your model. I think the strength of the axis lock is excellent. Remember, we've got that steel bar riding in the liners. Actually, there's no liners, just the milled aluminum in the Emissary. And then they lock on the ramped portion of the rear blade tank. Okay, that locks it. And then look at that thick old stop pin right there. Okay, so I think it's more than strong enough, judging from my own use of axis locks over the years. I love the axis lock mechanism. By the way, that is a safety and a lock on the Emissary. So if you want to lock it in the pocket, don't recommend you do that, but you can. Just do that. Won't come out, right? And then also in the open position, speaking of locking strength, lockup strength, you can push it like that and it won't allow that axis, that's funny, axis bar to go rearward. Okay? I wouldn't use it. I'll tell you an upside of having that safety. I hope I remember. Great strength, love it. Handle material, already said it. Aluminum. Looks like titanium, don't it? Let's get the handy dandy 4.7s Preon 2. Gold color this time. A little something different. Notice no liners, right? That's all to the good, man. Love it. That's one reason it's so light, that they did not put any steel liners in it. Don't need it. You can kind of see the Omega springs in there from the axis lock mechanism. By the way, when you fold the knife, you can see those compress. Okay, and that, I think, provides a propulsion to start the blade deployment. Okay, I love the handle material, the aluminum, it's great. I have heard complaints, I think they're valid, about the wear on what is a media blasted aluminum handle. You'll probably have some scratches on it. Okay, it's not anodized. However, I love the looks of it. It's gray, it's just very cool. I love the polished blade, the gray handle, gorgeous, and it's pretty ergonomic as well. I already talked about the milled grooves there. The thumb stud accessibility is pretty good. No volcano issues on that. Can I go reverse grip on it? I'm just kidding. Who cares? Ergonomics, I will say, excellent. Probably forgot some stuff on it. Now on to the clip design. Another big win for the Emissary. Why? Because it harkens back to my other reference standard, the Deep Carry SOG Flash 1. Flash 2 for that matter. They have that bayonet clip. I will say that, of course, the Emissary's clip is superior in strength and in looks. That's kind of Wizard of Oz looking. But this is beautiful. It's polished stainless steel. It's a loop over clip. You can see it's attached right there on the handle. I did not note any problems or interferences in pocket carry with that as it wrote in. You might, but I love it. I think the polished stainless steel clip against the gray is pretty. I would prefer, however, to have something like this, stone washed stainless steel. Look how cool that would be. Oh yes. I wouldn't want a black clip. I think that would totally ruin it unless you had a black knife. But stone wash clip, oh, I'm in. This thing carries very deep, and that means you're probably not going to lose it. Again, like I've said so many times, great clip though. Strong, doesn't catch on stuff, not that I could find anyhow. Home run, baby. Durability. I would say probably excellent. If you don't mind some wear and tear on the exterior of your knife, if you're going to hard use your Emissary, I don't see too many problems with it. You know, will you get some movement in the pivot point? I don't have a crystal ball. I will say this, I've seen that in a lot of knives, all kinds of knives. Where's that 940? Let's check that. I've hard used this bad boy. No movement at all in this one. Okay, this is one I've gone backpacking with, you know, skinned out some trout. You guys know that. Some TMPers crack me up. They're like, dude, don't use the red one. You need to save that one. Sorry, I made the choice to put this into use a long time ago. And you wouldn't know it by looking at it, that it's had so much use on it, because I take very good care of it, as you can see. Anyways, I would expect about the same out of this. Maybe a little bit of movement. The S30V steel is tough. It is durable. Not rust proof, but rust resistant. Can you break the tip off? And by the way, that is a very delicate tip. Great for detail work, which I love. Yeah, you probably can. You drop this thing on the concrete, you're probably done. You could say the same for any number of knives. Value. If there's anything holding the Emissary back from true superstar status in the Nutnfancy project, it's probably value. Because it's somewhat expensive. I mean, the retail price is around, what is it, 200 or something? Street price will run about $130 to $150 depending on where you go, which I think is not a bad deal for what you're getting. The specialness of this Uptown EDC knife. Okay, is it worth it? Value is in the eye of the beholder. I will say yes, it is worth it, especially if you're a Benchmade fan. Remember, you're talking about S30V steel, and that costs. If we were to put this in 154 CM, OS 8, which you wouldn't see from Benchmade, maybe some other steel, more affordable. I think the S30V steel is a great choice. Value, though, is... it's expensive. Sorry, it just is. If we were to compare it against, let's see, I already talked about the Fingerling. That's less, 100 bucks. It's an auto knife with everything I said. 940 Osborne Axis. That's a bigger knife, still superstar EDC Hall of Famer. The SOG Twitch 2, $45 aluminum handle. And by the way, cryoed. Awesome SOG Flash 1. Here's one off the wall. Auto knife, Piranha Bodyguard. Dudes, how long has it been since you've seen this knife in front of the camera? Love this knife. Good EDC knife? Not so much. It's got a spear point blade on it. But it's fast, and it was, I'm looking at my pricing on it. It wasn't outrageous, 135 bucks. Again, piranhas are well made, fast. A little bit of wiggle in that handle though. Just a weird option. Don't even know why I threw that out to you. Here's one, another auto knife. I'm throwing out autos because the Emissary honestly is so fast in deployment, it kind of reminds me of an auto. No joke. Another Benchmade mini-reflex 2550. Superstar status. This is one I carried in my flight suit for like 6 years off and on. Love that blade. Blade to handle ratio, also perfection. You can see the anodizing on this, how it's worn. You're going to have some wear and tear on that too, right? I had my flight suit zipper, like put brass marks on this one. Wears pretty good. Your Emissary will look like that. I mean, if you're going to put it in some hard use, just accept the wear. It looks like Boba Fett. It's cool. Value is adequate, but it's not outstanding on the Emissary, is what I'm saying with these value comparisons. By the way, this one, I didn't say the price, so mini-reflex at the time, like 125, I think. Okay, this is an expensive blade, but it's a special blade in S30V steel. Very high cool factor, I would say. I mean, how many guys you're going to run into in your daily life that's going to be packing an Emissary? Remember the weight, 2.2 ounces, very thin, deep carry, great thumb studs, excellent access mechanism. Really the only downside to the whole package, which is meaningful to me at least, is the cost. And if you can suck that up, you're going to love the Emissary. No joke. It is a beautiful, fast, and gorgeous blade. At least that's what my cowboy friends tell me. Yep. Mr. Fancy Pants proves to be awesome. Talking about the knife. Nutnfancy, we'll see ya.